So this is absolutely not the video that I thought we would be making, let's just say, 2 weeks ago or so. Because things change quickly in the National Hockey League. I think fans of whichever team can attest to that. 1 week you're going out there sobbing and weeping over multiple losses in a row, but 2 weeks later things can quickly turn around. Now, for the Montreal Canadiens, this has been maybe not so sudden, but now we're really starting to see the effects of it. And it's at the point right now where I think a lot of Detroit Red Wings fans can potentially step in and say, yeah, told you so. Because today we're talking about a guy who has been good for Montreal. We made a video just a few weeks ago talking about how the trade to acquire him was a good idea, and how it worked out well for the Habs. But now, after some movement in the lineup and some other guys being placed alongside of him, it seems like that early spark has started to fizzle out a little bit. And now we're sitting here and trying to explain why. Today we're responding to a Reddit post posted by Matt236246 that talks about recent Canadiens acquiree Zack Bolduc, who has 2 points and a -3 in his last 9 games played. This user says it's not even about luck. Now, of course, we're talking about Zack Bolduc, a guy who was acquired from St. Louis for Logan Mailloux. He was a near 20-goal scorer as a rookie in the NHL last year, and it was seen as a very amazing acquisition for Montreal, that this guy, who was just finishing up his first full year in the National Hockey League and who had a super stellar second half of last season, that this guy would be able to be acquired for Logan Mailloux. I mean, Mailloux hasn't been great in St. Louis. He's been sucking pretty hard over there. So a lot of Canadiens fans love to poke fun at that situation and say, hey, the trade was amazing. Look at Bolduc. And it paid off, didn't it? To open up the season, Zachary Bolduc was on the first power play unit, and the guy was scoring goals like crazy. 3 goals in the opening 3 games of the year, plus an assist as well. Top power play unit guy, he was getting 15 minutes a night. And even now, he's still going out there and getting around that. There are some other games where he has fewer, 10, 11, 13 minutes. But he hasn't been producing as much as of late, and that's what this Reddit post goes out there and says. Only got 2 points in the last 9 games, and during those last 9 games, Bolduc has a 1.43 individual expected goal number, 0 rush chances, 0 rebounds created, 6 giveaways versus 1 takeaway, and his 5v5 on-ice stats go as follows. A 71% offensive zone starting percentage, and still only 28% goals for percentage. 49.5 Corsi for percentage, 46.99 SF, and 46% expected goals for percentage. Do you feel the results match the eye test? Will he bounce back heavy and soon? With all those ozone starts, it's not even about being in the doghouse. The main point that this Reddit user is making is, hey, Zack Bolduc in these past 9 games has had very bad expected goal percentage numbers, expected Corsi numbers, goals for straight up numbers, but he's getting a lot of offensive zone starts. 71% of his starts are in the offensive zone. It's not necessarily like he's being sheltered. He's being given top opportunity to start things out and create offense. But why exactly is it that Zack Bolduc has totally fallen off a cliff production-wise? You can chalk that up to the fact that he's no longer on the first power play, but he was on that unit for quite a while, even while he wasn't producing. He'd get a goal every few games or so, and it was fine, but I think a lot of Canadiens fans felt internally like, okay, after a few weeks, maybe it's time to take Bolduc off of that unit. Then they did, and now it's working really well. We just spoke yesterday about how Ivan Demidov has improved the Montreal Canadiens' first unit to 50-something%. It's ridiculous. but some of the top comments go out there and try to spell out why it is Zachary Bolduc is no longer producing. Take a look at this. What playing with Joe Veleno does to a guy. Real. People praise Veleno at first, but all I see is a black hole where plays become dead ends. It's hard to score when you're on a line with someone whose idea of playing hockey is trying to keep the puck to yourself for as long as possible. Oh boy, a lot of Red Wings fans who are tuning into this video just perked up because they probably agree with what's being said here. Another reply goes out there and says, yeah, Joe Veleno, he works his behind off, but he does not generate anything. He has no vision and he's unpredictable. Play Bolduc with Gallagher, who also stopped producing since he's back with Andy and Evans. Veleno might be best suited in a line who are just told to dump it in and then throw it towards the goal. Some of the most boring blue-collar teams have played that style. He might be optimal for that. He might also be better suited for the playoffs. If he has no brain function on the ice, there isn't anything to melt in the psychological pressure. Trade him to the Blue Jackets or the Islanders? And then another reply says, yeah, they need to get Bolduc away from Veleno again. Gallagher, Doc, and Bolduc was a solid line. And so, it seems like, not only talking about the power play, but it seems like, in a bunch of Canadiens fans' minds, one of the biggest catalysts for lack of offensive productivity out of Zachary Bolduc happens to be the placement of Joe Veleno on his line. A player who, at one point, was seen as the next best thing coming into the QMJHL, the very first QMJHL exceptional status name, and a guy who was touted to being a top prospect a decade ago in 2018. He was inevitably taken towards the end of the first round by Detroit, and even though he became a serviceable NHL player, that's all he really became, and that's what he is right now. Serviceable. You get NHL replacement level play out of this Joe Veleno, and we're starting to see a lot of that now. After a preseason and opening stint that won a lot of Canadiens fans' hearts over. I'm not going to pretend like we didn't make positive videos about Veleno just a few weeks ago. We straight up said, yeah, this guy's looking really good. He's contributing, he's moving the puck well, he's facilitating play. And the Red Wings gave up on this guy. Now he's in Montreal and he's doing well. But it's been a few games. It's been a few minutes, and now Joe Veleno is playing with a guy who can't seem to get going offensively, and he's not making that job any easier. The guy who was a hot shot to start out the year is now really having difficulty producing, alongside of a Veleno whose offense never really lived up to the expectations of being a first overall exceptional status QMJHL guy. There were already red flags during his draft-eligible year, which is why he slipped so far in the 2018 draft. But now, we're taking a look at Veleno on his, third NHL team? And Canadiens fans are saying, yeah, get this guy away from Bolduc, he's ruining the guy. So, with that in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree with this notion that Joe Veleno is, in a way, ruining what we are seeing out of Zachary Bolduc? Bolduc was doing alright, but now seems like things are not going all too well, aren't they? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button is down there for you as well. Thoughts in the comment section below, because comments help out with the algorithm. I'd really appreciate it if you got involved there. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9, and bye.